How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing? My name's Jeff Legg, and I'm with Metal Temple.
Hey, yeah, I'm Monte Pittman. Nice talking with you.
I got to get one disclaimer out of the way. I'm not near as redneck as my voice sounds.
I got kind of excited there for a second because I'm from Texas. So I was like, hey, one of my people.
Yeah, well, I'm from Oklahoma City, so I know exactly where you're from down there.
No way. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm from Longview, Texas.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
I knew there was something about you I liked.
well, that's why I say I get a lot of people say, "Oh, you wear your cowboy boots and all that," and I'm not really a redneck. I just wasn't blessed with a great speaking voice, so.
Yeah, no, yes, you were. That's great. That sounds good to me.
Well, that's good. So let me just
Sound
say
like a real man.
I'm speaking with Metal Blade recording artist Monte Pittman. And how you doing, sir?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
It's great to hear a familiar sounding voice.
Well, we're not that. We're even though we're rivals on the football field, I guess we're neighbors, friendly neighbors.
Yeah.
So, for anybody that's been living under a rock and they don't know, you're the guitar player for Madonna, and
Yes.
And you've got your own stuff out now, which I absolutely love. And
Thank you.
so, how did a guy from Texas get this gig with Madonna? I mean, is it something that, I mean, I know how, but could you kind of explain?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I'll give you the quick version. I moved from Texas to LA right at the end of 1999, and in 2000, that's when I started working with both Prong and Madonna, and I started teaching Madonna guitar lessons. A month after I was giving her lessons, she asked me to go play on David Letterman with her, and then that's how we started playing together. A couple months after that, she was going to go on tour again, and she hadn't been on tour in 7 years, and then, so, yeah, she asked me to play guitar for her, so then I started playing guitar for her, and she's kept calling me back ever since.
Oh, that's great. So you,
great. I love playing with her. We have an amazing chemistry together, and it's like I can just tell by the way she breathes, like when she's going to sing her notes, and it's great. And she takes exceptional care of me. She's the best.
you're a metalhead at heart, though. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I grew up on. I mean, I like everything. You know, I'll listen. You know, I like to sort of change up the playlists every once in a while. One day I'll listen to acoustic stuff. One day I'll listen to really heavy stuff. I'll put on. I'll listen to some country songs sometimes. I like the old like AM radio kind of songs, like Little River Band and 10cc, and just depends on what kind of mood I'm in, you know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've always
Sometimes
liked the
some
heavy.
classical. I love music. You know, there's only 12 notes, so you know, it's all really the same thing with just a different approach, a different way you speak it. Really, is the only difference.
And so you've also worked with Adam Lambert. How'd that go? Now you worked with him before American Idol, didn't you?
Yeah, he was the singer for my band, and then I would go away on tour with Madonna, and like it was hard getting everybody together because everybody had things going on. Tommy Victor from Prong actually played bass in that band, and then Steve Sedelnik, he plays drums for Richard Ashcroft, but he was playing for Madonna also. So I had me and Steve from Madonna's band, Tommy, and then Adam. Because me and Adam did some shows together where it's like all these different musicians will come together and play. You see that a lot over here in LA, and then we met. I was like, dude, you ever thought about being in a band? And because he just done theater stuff.
Yeah, he's got an amazing voice.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that I could have made something happen, you know. But then again, you know, fate played its hand, and so he went on American Idol, and then the rest is history. I played with him in his band afterwards. Also, I mean, like when he came out with his first album, then I was in his band, and then everybody kind of went on. And then he got with Queen, and that's everybody kind of goes their own ways.
Yeah, like you
He's
said,
keeping busy though. He's doing great.
It's fate, I guess. Just you ended up. I like I said, I love your stuff, and I think you ended up where you're supposed to be. And so
yeah, it seems to be the case.
Did you always want to be like when you were young? Did you aspire to be a professional musician, or was it?
Yeah, my whole life I've never wanted to do anything else. Like since I was 3 years old, and I was one of those kids. I wanted to be Ace Frehley. I stood on my sister's bed, listening to my sister's Kiss records, and I've always wanted to play music.
So basically, you were a metalhead, then you did this gig with Madonna. You're still doing it, and now you're back to your roots, playing the hard and heavy stuff. So,
yeah, well, I still play with Prong in between, So I got to get that out of my system, and then I started, after the thing with Adam when he went on American Idol, I was like, okay, well, we're not gonna go have a band now. But I was like, okay, I still wanted to have I still moved out to LA to start a band or something like that. I still want to do my own thing. And then I started playing out acoustically so I could play whenever I wanted to, so I could book a show whenever. And then that just had a natural progression. Like as I played more and more shows, you get better set times, you add more to the music, and then I started adding drums and bass and electric guitar. And then my second album was a kind of a hybrid of things. Like I wanted it to be where I could play the songs acoustic or I could play them with a band. And for my third album, I started working with Fleming Rasmussen, and I'd given him all my demos because we did an acoustic EP in one day. And then when he had all my demos, he's like, "Well, what about these heavy songs?" He's like, "This is stuff I want to do." And I was like, "Well, I've kind of done that with Prong. I wasn't thinking about maybe going there, but I guess I could." And he's like, "You need to record that. That's what you're really good at." And so I went to Copenhagen. We recorded The Power of Three. And then when I got home, I played it for Brian Slagle, and then he signed me to Metal Blade. And now this new album, Inverted Grasp of Balance, is that's another step forward. And I tried to make the heaviest album I could possibly make.
So
kind of going back to those roots.
What can you explain the title?
It means, if anything's inverted, of course, that's just on the other side, and it's, on, balance. It's kind of like saying off balance, and that's kind of a metaphor for a lot of things. My career, in a way, it kind of goes back and forth. There's polar opposites. I'll go from one thing to another. But in a lot of the songs, they kind of deal with the subject of just when you think that you've got everything figured out, and you got everything built up, the carpet gets swept from under you, and you got to start all over again. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you can take from what you learned, and then you can then you start over again, and you make it even better than it was.
You're that much more the wiser than you were going in.
I figure that's something we can all relate to.
Well, does the songwriting, because you've collaborated with a lot of people and you've done a lot of different styles, is it you use the same writing mentality when you go into writing the metal stuff than you do when you're writing a pop song?
No, because it's always different. Some of the heavy stuff I'll come up with on an acoustic guitar, and then some of it, I'll have one riff, and then maybe I'll have another riff from another song, but then that song didn't really come together. But it's like, well, maybe that riff from this song needs to be the bridge here, and then you kind of throw all that in the pot, and I'll make a demo, and then I'll forget about it, and then I'll come back to the demo when I kind of don't remember what the songs are, so I can listen with fresh ears, and then I can, if there's something I still love, then great, but if there may be something else I've come up with, and I'll add that to it. So it's just a constant evolution.
So you're constantly writing. You don't. I know some
constantly.
People when they go in to do an album, they say they go brainstorm for a while. But You basically write all the time.
Yeah, I record myself, or I'll video myself every time I just sit down and sort of play. And you never know, like, and I teach guitar lessons a lot, and I teach online. And let's say I'm giving a lesson, and we're talking about a scale or something, and you just happen to play something as an example, and it's like, oh, hang on a second, let me record that real quick, make a note of it, because that may be a good little riff right there.
That's great. Well, I got to tell you, on the metal stuff, you're 2 for 2, man. I mean, I love the power of 3, and so I was kind of nervous when your new record's coming out. Come on, man, you got to top that. And sure enough, I haven't turned it off in the last week. So especially when I knew I was going to interview you,
made my day.
Man, that's great stuff, and there's so much diversity in it. It's, I mean, you can tell you've got different influences.
Thank you. I mean, I actually didn't really want that much diversity. I wanted the whole thing to just kick your ass for an hour. But then you kind of go through, and there's things kind of, things will always evolve. You got to give the listener a little bit of break. Let the ears take a breather for a second to set them up again. It's almost like if you were making a horror movie, and if you just had a scary scene the whole time, you have to make the audience feel safe for a second.
Set them up, knock them down, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see. I think you just answered. Okay, the band you put together is basically, you guys are a super group. I mean, if you think about Billy Sheehan and Richard Christie and then yourself, is that, have you known these guys and you knew for a while that you guys wanted to do something, or was it?
Yeah, I have for a while, and I was going to have some other different guests, but I was recording this on the road, and then, me and Richard have the same management, and I mean, I always wanted to meet him because I think he is one of the funniest dudes on the planet. One time I was listening to Howard Stern, and he has one of the prank calls where he calls a guy who's he's like trading porn tapes, and then so Richard's asking him like what his titles are and what's on the cover. And man, I almost went off the road. I was laughing so hard.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and when he does his Ethel character, man, he's one of the funniest dudes I've ever met. And then Billy, of course, Billy's amazing, and we're all connected in the Metal Blade family too. And I think Billy was one of the first people that said something about when the Power of Three came out. Like he loved the album and all that. So it just so happened that that's how it worked out.
Yeah, that's really you just never know who's listening, and that's what I always tell people is you need to always think about what you're doing and saying because you never know who's listening. And so in this case,
yeah, that's what I always say. And like when you telling me, and from doing these interviews, and people are like, "Man, I love the Power of Three. I still listen to it," and I hear that all the time, and I'm like, "Wow!" I mean, because for someone to listen to an album that's been out already for a couple of years, when there's so much amazing music out there to listen to. That that is an amazing compliment. So,
but it
means a lot. That means a lot. That's not something I just go, okay, yeah, I'm glad you like it. Like that stops me in my tracks when I hear that.
And I'm not just saying it to blow smoke up your ass because, which
I would be okay with that too.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell you from what I do is I listen to so much music. There's just and the way the industry is now, it's just. Social media, everybody can go buy your software at Best Buy and record your album, and so everybody's so as much music as I hear when something good like that comes out, you learn to appreciate it more maybe than you did because there's so much watered down crap out there that anyway your stuff's good, so really really good.
Thanks so much.
So how did you and Fleming hook up? Was it?
I had a day off on tour in Copenhagen, and I was like, "Hey, wait! Sweet Silence Studios is here," and so I looked it up. I went I went there. I figured I would just go into the studio and maybe get a card from there, or maybe they had a shirt or something, or maybe you could do a tour of the studio. Who knows? Or just to see it because two of my favorite albums ever were made there, and he there was a note that the building was being demolished, but he was still available for work. Or somehow I found him and I contacted him, and I invited him out to the show because usually, like with Madonna, there's wives, girlfriends, moms, sisters. Everywhere you go, somebody wants somebody to come out. And he was on vacation, and he was like, "Hey, my daughter would want to come out though," and so she came out to the show, and we met, and she's awesome. And then we all kind of became friends. And then the next time I came back and played, then he came out to a show, and then we hung out, and that's when I gave him some of my music, and then he listened to it, and that's where we were saying like, "Hey, maybe we can work together someday." And at the time, maybe I thought, maybe he could do a Prong album or something. But and then I came back another time to Copenhagen, and I said, "Hey, I got one day off, and I got these acoustic songs. Let's just knock out something in a day, and let's see what we come up with." And so we knocked out an EP, and then that started the working relationship.
You're a huge Metallica fan, so that.
Oh, of course.
Just was.
And I think it's really cool that the guy who did Metallica did the Power 3, and the guy who did Anthrax did Inverted Grasp of Balance, because Jay Rustin did Inverted Grasp of Balance. And so that's maybe I need to get Slayer's producer for the next one or something.
Yeah, but just stay in the big four there, and you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So now you've always been a guitar god your whole life, and so now the front man, the lead singer, the face of the band. Is there any more pressure on you now?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a long process. I mean, when you got a singer like Adam Lambert, and then he goes off and becomes a singer for Queen, after a series of events, it's like, all right, somebody's got to sing, so I got to learn how to do it. So I started taking tons of vocal lessons, and it's an ongoing process. I'm still learning. I'll always be learning. That's part of the fun of it. That's part of the beauty of it. I started taking lessons from Ron Anderson for this album, and that's the guy that taught Chris Cornell and Axl Rose, and he taught Pavarotti. He taught M. Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold.
That's amazing.
So many. Scott Weiland, so many people, and he really made me understand it. And I was doing a lot of things wrong still, and I'm sure I'm still doing a lot of things wrong. But I know more now, and he got me to a place where I'm extremely happy with these vocals.
Well, I can tell you that's a strong point of the record for me is your vocals. If you would told me and let me listen to it, and I never heard of you and whatever, I mean, you wouldn't think that, hey, this guy's a guitar player that converted to a vocalist, because there's just something about everybody sounds the same nowadays with all of this screaming crap and all this. So to hear somebody that can really sing, and I mean, to me it was a big part of the album, one of the reasons I was drawn to it. So
wow. Well, I do hope to bring something different to the table, and so I mean that's I tell people, like, that's the hand I was dealt. I wish I could scream, I wish I could, do that, but I can't.
How many times have you?
My voice doesn't do that. It's just I can just sing.
How many times have you heard a great somebody's riffing away, and then all of a sudden the vocalist comes in and they ruin it? I mean,
I don't know about ruin. I love that stuff actually, but I know what you mean. And I am a huge death metal fan, especially when it first came out. Like when bands like Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, Deicide, or those bands first came out. That was like, what is that? It was some sound you've never heard before, and but when I would play it for some of my friends, they'd be like, "Oh, I love the music, but I don't like the singing." Or I remember getting Sepultura, Arise, and like I was the only guy in town who had that CD, and I'd play it all the time. And I think I kind of loved it even more because everybody else didn't like it, and because they were just like, "Oh, I like the music, I just don't like the singing."
Yeah, that's the way I am.
Now those same people would like hear that and go, "Oh yeah, I love hearing some good old classic rock." It's kind of funny how that changes over time. But I did think like that would be cool to have really heavy music. But then what if you had singing over it? Because like I saw Cannibal Corpse on their 25th anniversary tour, and I was amazed by all the different people that were there, the different kind of people, and it kind of seemed like that was almost becoming like a new classic rock.
Yeah, I saw him on the Mayhem Fest, and I was the same way. I couldn't believe how many people that knew you can't hardly understand some of the lyrics, but just amazing how many people were singing it word for word.
Yeah, so, I know, and it's like when Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and Deep Purple came out, that was heavy metal. That was the heaviest music right there. But now that's just classic rock.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a guitar instructor. It seems like this album has so many intricacies and diversity. Like I said earlier, it seems like you could almost use this record as a teaching tool.
That's funny you say that because that was part of what I was going for some of it. I wanted, I used a lot of like odd scales, and then taking the odd, just from me saying like, hey, wait, I haven't played this scale in a while, and then from playing that scale over and over again and teaching it to myself, you start kind of coming up with some riffs. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool to have a song with just these notes and it makes it kind of odd. Or I'll take one of those and I'll make inversions of all those chords and use that as my chords. But yeah, that is something that I could use, as to teach with, or that could be a lesson. And you can find anybody can find me at lessons@montepittman.com for guitar lessons. I teach online, so where the beauty about that is, and I know that people do that, but I've just had the capabilities or figured out how to do it. And so if I'm traveling, like if I'm on the road, I can still teach my students. Some of my students, like they'll be like, "Hey, where are you? The background's different." I'll be like, "Oh, I'm in Vegas," or "I'm in Asia," or something.
Technology.
I was out with some friends in Vegas. I was like, "Hey, I got to go back to my hotel. I got to teach for an hour, and then I'll come back and meet up with you." And they're like, "Teach? What?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm teaching a guy in China." They're like, "What?" Yeah, because I'm teaching online.
It seems like you broke us in with your acoustic stuff, and it almost seems like you were trying to clobber us from the beginning with your heaviness, but you snuck in some acoustic, and now every album you get heavier and heavier, and I love it. But does it seem like you've progressed the older you're getting, or is it just something fresh?
It's kind of, I guess that could be part of it, but a lot of it is just the natural progression of you keep playing, you keep getting better as a musician, and as a songwriter. On my first album, The Deepest Dark, Out of the Black, that song was meant to be a really heavy song. But I recorded it. I wanted to record it because I was like, what if this is the only album I ever get to do? Then I recorded it acoustic, and I didn't want to have a bunch of just slow songs on the acoustic, slow acoustic songs. I wanted that album to be kind of like a Nick Drake album.
Yeah.
Well, very much so, because he's a huge influence for the acoustic stuff and for songwriting, and I love that. I've even gone to visit his grave out in the UK, and and most of those songs are all in alternate tunings. And there was another song, The Circle, which I did, and that was a song that came from me and Adam's band. And that was a tough song to do because after you have Adam singing your song, then you have to go back and sing. You feel kind of stupid.
I got to follow that?
No, it never can. Well, what it really is not. Well, there's demos somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, you stepped on the gas right out of the gate on this album with the Panic Attack. And so,
Yeah,
man,
I wanted you to put the album in, and then it's just going to start kicking you in the balls.
Yeah, and it does. It's great. I love that song. And then let's see, you kind of slow it down at the end there, kind of giving a break with the New Blood Keeps Us Alive. Was that anything personal experience, or was it? Where did the inspiration for that song come from?
That came from me. How I wrote the song was sitting on I had a picnic table in my front yard, and I was just sitting on there because like there was all these like dark clouds coming in, and so there was a change in the seasons. There had to have been because the leaves were all falling, and my cat used to come sit next to me when I was writing and playing, and I was just sitting with him, and here's how I wrote it, where the idea came from, because I like to practice writing exercises where you have to write about what you're seeing. Like the Paul McCartney song, somebody's knocking at the door, somebody's ringing the bell,
right.
Open the door, where it's just about what's happening right then and there. Like I could say, okay, whatever it is. So anyway, these two leaves fell off of this tree, and they split apart, and they went their own way. And I was like, okay, I'm going to write about that because they've grown, they've been together since their very existence, and now they're going their own ways. And then things sort of come into play of, how that is a metaphor in life.
Yeah, that could be a number of things, relationships.
Exactly. That's how I like to write. Is that song means a few different things to me. And it could hopefully mean a few different things to everybody who hears it. That's how I try to write it. Like if you were to go to an art gallery and you look at a piece of art, everybody's going to say it means something different to them.
Right. Yeah. The deeper thinkers could go a lot of different things. The deep thinkers could go a lot of different ways with it, and some of us rednecks could probably just think about something else,
Well, that's what I want. I want you to be able to think. I mean, I'm a teacher, so hopefully you can learn something, or hopefully it'll help you get through something, or at the end of the day, you just got something to jam out to.
That's right. Yeah, just turn it up. Now, so the way the industry is now with record sales are not so great anymore, and how do you determine successful now? Everybody used to say, how many millions of records did you sell? Now it's
for you to talk to someone and they say, hey, I got your album a couple of years ago and I still listen to it all the time. I've somehow lasted or survived as a professional working guitar player for 16 years now. So to me, that's, I'd rather be able to say I could do that than have a plastic framed record on my wall.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I guess the money that you would get from that.
Yeah, the money wouldn't be bad.
Would be good.
Okay, I think we're running out of time, but I just want to ask you about touring. Are you planning on doing a tour?
If anybody will have me, I'll come play.
Somebody will have you. I guarantee you that.
Everybody asks me that, so I'm working on. I need a booking agent.
Maybe you could open.
Booking agent.
You could open for Madonna maybe on the next tour.
Oh, a different crowd.
Yeah.
Hey, if she'd let me do that, I'd do that.
Hey.
She sells my CDs. She sold The Power of Three at her merch booth on the Rebel Heart tour, and on the tour before that, on the MDNA tour, she sold my Pain, Love, and Destiny album. That's my second album. So I mean, she doesn't have to do that.
No.
And she does that just to be try to help me, and so that's pretty awesome. Right there.
Well, if you
very lucky, very fortunate.
I would
very cool.
boys, I guess you'll post something if you decide to play or tour. I mean, I'd love to see you guys play. Get out on the road.
Yeah, I just say, just make as much noise about it as you can. Because I definitely, it's not like I don't want to play. It's that, I'm. I just need to get a booking agent. So hopefully that'll happen very soon.
Well, I'll get out of your way. I know we're running out, and I only had 30 minutes, but it was, man, I love your stuff. I can't wait to hear what you do next.
Thanks so much, man.
And I'll be in touch with you. You never know, we may run into each other crossing the I-35 or something. Man, it was really nice talking to you. I appreciate your time.
Really nice talking to you, too. Thank you so much for your support and for taking time to talk with me about this album.
I'll send you an email or text or something when I get it up.
On Twitter and Instagram, it's at Monte Pittman, and then there's a Facebook page that you'll get, and there's MontePittman.com, the website. So nowadays, I guess if you just Google it, you're going to find everything you need.
Yeah, I've got it all here somewhere. So.
Or if you go to MontePittman.com, you can click on it all from the front page.
Okay,
I've got my own. I've got Monte Pittman music, all written as one word on YouTube, and there's a ton of videos on there. There's because I play with the LA Kiss house band, and there's videos of us playing there. There's some acoustic covers that I did on my own that are there. That's not something I could release, but I just kind of have them up there, and just random performances. I do these ultimate jam nights at the Whiskey.
Yeah, didn't you just do one with the singer for Prong?
Oh yeah, me and Tommy.
Yeah,
we got
Tommy.
together and we did a Ministry song. We did a Soundgarden song.
Okay.
So we may have to do some more stuff coming up.
Yeah, well, just keep doing what you do, and
I will, man. I don't really have another choice.
Yeah.
There's no turning back now.
No, you're doing it, man.
Thanks
okay,
so much, man.
I appreciate it, Monty.
Have a great day.
You too.
Talk to you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks.
Bye-bye.